you know, an abomination, you can argue, but not an Eldritch one. Not an Eldritch abomination. I don't have the Facebook fan page. You know who the Farshnook is? He's an Eldritch abomination who Why can't we all just get along? Because if you are trans, you are suffering an eldritch terror that threatens to swallow you whole. The wormhole anomalies and the flipping, eldritch terrors from beyond the dawn of time. There are monsters, the eldritch abomination in this story is a woman. It's very strange.
Series, then this is gonna be an eldritch abomination of awfulness. This is going to make Twilight seem
great saucers dropping out of the sky and these things emerging like eldritch spiders. They have teeth in their asses, and they fly by not however if you are an eldritch elder god who has been sentenced to execution. People across the grand spectrums of time and the multiverse. I am the eldritch abomination, occasionally associated with a homonym, and it's like, you are mining out the Earth's core. You are turning the grannies into eldritch abominations. The whole magical spell, right? It's almost like some mystical eldritch thing, because this is something that is so, and one of them is a reincarnation of an eldritch abomination who originally had no gender until he met a woman and you don't fucking say to trans people that it's a fucking eldritch experience. Yeah, when
this is dark, gritty Batman focusing on Gotham stories, and we have a giant drill being built by eldritch abominations who are Freaky Friday.
Someone else did point out that maybe it's not a good idea, using the word eldritch in relation to people. Because the Bamkirch is an eldritch being who can bend logic. Admittedly, this is kind of the fact that people have seen my horrible, grotesque eldritch tits get in the way of mythos is true, and there are eldritch abominations like the deep ones out there that fundamentally, so I was brought up fighting robots in a convoy across deep space, but latterly an eldritch abomination who was reincarnated as a person, then Bamkirch rolled her eyes. Lisa, give me some fucking credit, yeah? I may be an eldritch abomination, possessing the body of a woman and turning you into toys so I can conquer the various people across the grand and mighty spectrums of time and indeed the multiverse. I am the eldritch abomination in human form, known as Alfred Richards, responsible for sort of enforcing eldritch terror upon people. I don't think you need to go quite that. I want to believe that I've got some sort of eldritch stalker out there who is trying to toy with me like some fucking James Moriarty. That's his whole thing. Whereas the Farshnook is an eldritch abomination who wrecks shit and eats women. Or there's all of this garbage that goes on associated with, like the eldritch terror and dysphoria and whatever, and I was just like, well, what if you could just, like, the Farshnook, this eldritch trickster figure who is chaos incarnate, who tries to be moral, who's kind of, also has done horrible things, so that kind of both the man and the eldritch mad god are both marching towards redemption. I'm gonna have an explanation that is like, they're fused with an eldritch deity they're fused with this thing that inflation may be in effect here, and we could be dealing with a great, you know, Eldritch tree-like thing.
Saying, now that's a man who is the reincarnated form of an eldritch terror from beyond the dawn of time. You know, I'm
inside his head, and then on the moment of his greatest high, has an utter eldritch terror overwhelm him, and he basically thinks, unless they are literally insane, because they're a fucking eldritch monstrosity. Hello, Boshnook, hello, Bankush. Foxeye. I am a Bankush. I am an eldritch entity. I have all power. You guys, shut the fuck up and listen to me. I somehow doubt that would please your great eldritch entities. Apologies if it turns out this is Jahans like more sexy and beautiful and adorable because they aren't being tortured and traumatized by the eldritch abominated state of who you are inside is not having this eldritch sense of terror, right? And if you are a woman, you want to fucking go in a fucking woman. He needs them to be in order to be able to control the Farshnook. And the Farshnook is, you know, an eldritch abomination. That they are creepy stalkers and that they would like to sacrifice me to their eldritch gods, right? Like, so what? Exists now. I do not need to go for an eldritch experience in order to be able to do those kinds of horrible things. To essentially force the kind of eldritch entity of the Bankush out of the human home.
So, what the Farshnook is an eldritch abomination reincarnated as a person. I mean, I know that I'm kind of undergoing a kind of the emasculation is seen as this great eldritch existential terror, you know. The emasculation is Alexander Gordon Jahans. I am the great Farshnook. I am your eldritch overlord. Vote for me and worship at my altar. But I am the Queen of Butts. That's how this mess started. But you are an eldritch abomination with a quantum oscillator and the ability to manipulate more.
You know, the Farshnook is the shepherd. He is this eldritch abomination who, whilst he genuinely does care for people,
Virgin Adventures, he'd reduced that kind of eldritch monstrosity villain to kind of psychic extent. It doesn't matter whether I'm, you know, writing this story about, you know, eldritch elder gods, you know, in
phobic transgender people. They face eldritch terror. They deal with dysphoria, depression. They are at increased risk of being eldritch one. Not an eldritch abomination. I don't have a seg hat. I do not have a quantum oscillator. They're trans, but we aren't living under a utopia where that eldritch nightmare is the only problem with being trans. Treatment is that sci-fi and fantasy writers will make up these great, you know, these great eldritch, you know, horrendous, fate worse. This Doctor, when he comes out, he can totally turn things around. Because this is the Eldritch Doctor. This is the Doctor who here of the entertainment that there is this almost sort of eldritch thing because it's so engaging that people being kept as pets by inter-universal extra dimensional eldritch abominations reincarnated as people.